MapFasten is a tool for aligning an image or PDF with other map layers so you can use it more effectively. The basic idea is that you find matching landmarks in your overlay and in the base layer, add tie points to those landmarks, then the MapFasten solver will find the best alignment that makes the tie points line up. From there, you can share the aligned overlay with your team and view it in other maps. The first step in creating a new overlay is to import your overlay image. First, click the New Overlay button. Next, choose the image you'd like to import. Finally, press the Upload button, and in a few moments, the editing interface will appear. You can also import an overlay image from another website. Again, let's click New Overlay. Now we'll choose from a URL. I have the URL in another tab here, so I'll copy that. Now paste it in here. And now after I click Submit, in a few moments, the editing interface will appear. Here we have the MapFasten editing interface. On the left is the map, and on the right is our overlay image. Now let's read the tip up here. It's suggesting that we use GoToLocation to zoom the map to the neighborhood of the overlay image. So I happen to know that this is Marin County, California, so I'm going to try typing that. And it's coming up as an option here, so let me select that. And now the map is zoomed into the same area as the overlay. Well, now the map is zoomed into the same area as the overlay image. Let's advance to the next tip. It's telling us to click matching landmarks on both sides to add tie points and align your overlay. So let's click to add a tie point on this landmark here. And we'll choose the same landmark on the overlay image. And here's another landmark. We'll select the same landmark on the overlay. And then we'll add a third tie point here. And a matching tie point here. Okay, and you can see that it's starting to show a preview image with a rough alignment. So at this point we've finished aligning the image and we could come up with a more precise alignment. We'll go through more of those details a little bit later. Now we have aligned our overlay. Let's advance to the next tip. It's telling us to use Share to see options for viewing your overlay and maps outside this site. So I'm going to click the Share button. Now just to explain, MapFasten produces an aligned overlay in the form of image tiles that you can view in Google Maps. And you have two choices about how to share your overlay on your own website. Let's look at the first choice. Let's view a web page that displays the aligned overlay. Okay, so this is a very simple web page, and I'm going to save it and show you how you can host it on your own web server. So I'm going to save it as web page HTML only. Go ahead and save. Okay, now I'm going to open the locally hosted version of that. And you can see it looks just the same, but now the HTML page is on local disk instead of coming from the MapFasten server. And I could edit the HTML page to change this text up here or add other map layers or something like that. But now just to explain, this HTML page is still pointing to tiles that are on the MapFasten server. So if you share this, your users will be loading the tiles from the MapFasten server. If you don't want to depend on the MapFasten server, then you'll want to use the other option for how to export your overlay. So I'm going to create an export archive. And this is going to create a gzipped tar archive that includes all of the tiles. So now I can download the archive. Let's open this. All right. And now I'm going to open the view.html file inside the archive. And again, it looks just the same, but this time all of the tiles are on local disk. And so it's not depending on the MapFasten server at all. There's a slight downside here, which is that if I zoom in far enough, I don't get higher resolution tiles coming in because it only generates tiles up to a certain resolution when it does the export. So now we've gone through the whole process of aligning an overlay and sharing it. So you can stop here or you can keep watching for some more advanced tips. Let's talk about how to use the advanced features of the MapFasten alignment interface. After you've added your tie points, you can drag them to move them. Sometimes the preview of the aligned image gets in the way of seeing landmarks on the map, so you can adjust the preview transparency or just turn it off altogether. To position your tie points more precisely, you can select a tie point pair, then click Zoom Max to zoom in on it. And here we're adjusting the fine precision of that particular tie point. And then when you're done, you can click Zoom Fit to zoom back out to see the whole map again. You can also use the Z key to toggle between these two zoom levels. If you need to delete a pair of tie points, select the pair and click Delete. Or just use the Delete key on your keyboard. Finally, if you make a mistake, you can always fix it with the Undo and Redo buttons. Let's talk about what makes a good set of tie points. Here's an example of tie points that are too close together and clustered in one area of the map. It's best to spread out our tie points so that they cover the whole map. Here are some good landmarks to choose for tie points. Intersection of major crossroads, the corner of a building, the corner where state borders meet. And here are some natural features that make good tie points. The intersection of two rivers, the sharp point on the shoreline, where the mouth of a stream enters the ocean. Here are some less good tie points. Here we've put a tie point on Palo Alto, and on this map Palo Alto looks like a point, but of course Palo Alto is a wider area around this point, and so the exact location of this point is pretty arbitrary, and so that makes a less good, well-defined tie point. For similar reasons, a lake and an island are both areas, not points. And so it becomes a little bit harder to define exactly where you want to put your tie point. Here's another thing that you might run into. Look at how, due to the angle of this photo, the roof corner and the ground level corner are actually offset from each other. So here we've chosen a roof corner. That's a poor choice because the ground corner is in a different place. We can't see it. So it's a better idea if we look at this corner of the building and we choose the one that's on ground level. If your overlay covers a city-sized area, you may find that 3 to 4 pairs of tie points are good enough to give you a precise alignment. For a multi-state area, you may need up to 10 to 12 pairs of tie points. And the reason for that is that at larger scale, the map projection becomes significant, and we actually have to curve the overlay image in order to make it line up with the base layer. Some maps, you're never going to get a perfect alignment no matter how many pairs of tie points you add. Beyond about 10 to 12 pairs of tie points, you probably won't see much benefit to continuing to add tie points. Types of maps that are not going to align well would include ones where there's a lot of vertical relief because we don't take into account the terrain elevation when we do our corrections. And if, for example, you have a hand-drawn map, we may not be able to align that properly. That's the end of our tutorial. Thanks for trying out MapFasten.